I want the Yolanda survivors to get back on their feet.
We all have our struggles, whether you're rich or poor.
We wanted to write the Philippine experience of
Our
love.
biggest enemy is apathy.
My country to be an example.
I think I've always been deeply interested in people's stories.
Avant-garde, fun, clever, and surprising are just some of the words to describe these functional art pieces and the creative mind behind it. Rita Nazareno's line of hand-woven bags, ZACARIAS, is her fashion-forward take on a family business that goes back 91 years. SCV-Vizcara, a company founded in 1925 by Rita's grandmother, Segundina Cornejo Vizcara, specializing in elegantly hand-woven luxury handbags and accessories sold worldwide. The brand evolved under Rita's mother, Vicky. Now, Rita is bringing a more contemporary and playful touch to the business and getting more attention for Philippine craftsmanship abroad, especially in Europe and Japan for her unique pieces.
I go to museums, I go to art galleries, and then I see something, I'm like, I can reference that into a bag. Because it's really that transformation that's really interesting to me. It's the form and the function of something that someone else had thought of.
This week on Profiles, we talk to the Emmy Award-winning television producer turned bag designer about family ties, surviving cancer, and finding fulfillment.
Rita, welcome to Profiles.
Thank you very much, Mitzi.
It's great to be here to see what this whole business, the family business of yours, is 91 years.
Yes.
Tell me about growing up in this family. You grew up in Ermita because that's where the business was.
Yes, my lola started it in Ermita. She started in 1925. And I remember, even until as early as 5 years old, we would, because I lived in the 7th floor of the store. The first 4 floors was the store, and then the 7th floor is where we lived with my grandparents and my parents.
This is usually where artists grow up, and of course, surrounded by artists. Your grandmother was into embroidery, your grandfather, a sculptor.
Yes.
How did that influence you?
I think, growing up, I didn't know how lucky I was, but and it was just ingrained in us. And aside from the fact that they were very, very creative people, my grandparents were fantastic people. They were kind, they were humble, they were generous. So I think, aside from their creative part, which is fantastic, it was also wonderful that they were able to instill in us really, some sort of humility and passion as well.
And do you remember, what are your really fondest memories when you think about growing up with 5 siblings, Because eventually you moved to the US, but when you think of home in Manila,
yeah.
What comes to mind?
Oh, we definitely games. We're a very competitive family. So we used to play, there are 5 kids, but the 4 older ones definitely. We would like wrestle with each other. So we would tag team wrestling. So much fun. And just like last Sunday, it's my dad's birthday, so we got him a ping pong table. And my goodness, the kids, man, we were there. And now we have 10 my mom has 10 grandchildren, all girls, by the way.
Wow.
And so we were playing ping pong, we were playing baseball, and that was fun. So we still do that apparently, even when we're in our 40s.
Somehow you got into television. What influenced your choices later in life?
I knew I wanted to be in television. And then, but I also knew growing up that this was a special family business, and I knew that I was going to come back at some point. And I was a creative services director at that time for the NBC station in Houston, when my mom had finally called and said, "I'm really tired. Why don't you come home?"
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, she had kept on asking me. Every year she would ask me, and then that year I just found myself saying yes, and so I went to and what do I know about fashion? I probably still don't actually, but I went to London College of Fashion for my 2nd master's after that, and that was fun. So basically everything is woven in-house as well. We have, for example, pre-colored wicker already that we dye ourselves, and so we're doing a lot of the coloring here as well as the weaving. This is in leather. So basically, this is where we do all the coloring, and this is the water hyacinth that's drying. So everything, whether we either spray it or we hand paint it, or the dyes will be here. So,
Okay, so you can create any color you want.
we can try to match any Pantone.
And then here, some of them also have to go through a heating process.
Exactly. So we have this huge room-sized oven.
Okay.
So we have to bake the natural materials. Basically, this is where we do the leathering, all the handles, all the straps. So, for example, this will be where everything will be attached. We also do corporate giveaways as well as corporate items for hotels, restaurants, even liquor companies,
yeah.
my
You name it,
favorite.
yeah.
So, for example, this is an ice bucket, and this is all hand-stitched.
Wow. So,
So-
the design is yours, or they come to you with a...
Either way, I have some that are my designs, and I have some that come from them. Everything here now is finished. Actually, these are going to Japan and to Portugal. So Wilma and Marjo will make each other colette and look at each and every single one, from the weave to the sewing,
So
to
quality
the lining.
control.
Quality control is right here. And it's
Yeah.
really special. Like, for example, this one. Oh, look at the inside of this. That's what Ate Glo does. So it's
Wow.
really quite
Yeah.
nice. So from here, we'll box it, and then we'll either send it to Europe or to Japan. They're cleaning up the little ends of the little strands, the runaway strands of the wicker.
Okay. And what makes these durable? Because of course, wicker, no, I mean, if it gets wet, so these are all really protected against the elements.
It is, and this is also wicker and leather. I think camaraderie is really important, and you know, and how you treat people. Very, very important. It's, you know, it's always out of respect, and it's always, you know, and I think that's also why, you know, people stay with us for a while. We have people who have been here for over 40 years.
Very kind and very accommodating. Easy to be with, especially yung parents ni Miss Rita. Si Miss Rita, ma'am, very creative, very focus sa trabaho. Napaka-cool sa trabaho. Siya yung pag may gusto siya talagang mangyari, hindi kanya titigilan eh. So, kaya nangyayari kaagad kung ano yung naisip niya.
Parang ano na rin, pamilya na rin, turin. Ang mother ni Ma'am Rita, mabait din, matulungin sa mga empleyado.
At si Rita?
Si Ma'am Rita din, ganun din. Noong 1989 ako dito, dito na rin ako tumanda. 66 na ako ngayon, ang edad. Kaya masasabi kong malaki rin ang naitulong ng Biskara. Napaaral ko yung mga anak ko.
What I see here, you know, you introduced me to all your staff here. It's really a collaboration. It's not just you giving the orders.
Not at all. If you kind of open up, give some sort of not education per se, but really opening up, understanding and learning about different artists and and the history as well, and of design and the importance of ergonomics. People really, and me as well, people really will explore and expand their mind. You know, my uncle's fantastic. You know, he's Tito Pablo does our prototyping, and he heads our production development here. And
so he's been here for over 40 years.
40 years.
Ginagawa namin dito, may with frame and then with pattern. And then kapag nagawa na yung pattern, kapag gawa ko na yung dito pagka-forma nito, bibigay ko na sa mismo sa weaver. So, pipili na ako kung ano yung mga kailangan na wicker, the kulay, or
Anong
and then
kulay?
wax.
So we look at the color, the shape, and then he'll...
And I put her like that.
You're really spreading yourself. You have your business in France. You have that there too, right?
Yes, with Marjo, I have a business partner in France, and we put up a company in France, and it's been fantastic for us. It's been, you know, we've shown in trade shows in Paris.
I was living here in Manila for 1 year, and I met Rita, who told me with a lot of humility, I have a small brand, we're doing bags. So I said, okay, just show me. And then I discovered that workshop, and I was super amazed. First, amazed by her creativity, because she can do so many things. Like even when we were traveling, she always had an idea about everything. Like we're on a station, or we're on the airport, and she said, oh, you know, I see a bag. I said, oh, okay. And also by the skills of the artisans here. That is something I've never seen in Europe. That's something really unique, because they can do things with passion, and all is really well made, all the finishes, everything, the inside. So I said, wow, that can be new in Europe, and that can work.
Going to Europe, really, and showing what we can make there, I think it's really special. I mean, the first time we showed, people were really impressed. We were very encouraged, and you know, we started getting a lot of orders from that, and we were very happy. So that definitely really like showing what we can do to the world is really quite special.
Rita, what do you think makes your bags really unique from all the rest?
Well, I reference contemporary art and architecture and cinema as well. So I'm really interested in the shapes as well. Everything is woven. So aside from the texture, also the shapes are very interesting to me. So for example, this is the Bilbao bag that I based very loosely in the Guggenheim. This one is one of part of the collection from Mitch Dulce that I did a collaboration with. We did 2 seasons together.
So that time you had to have a mastectomy.
Yes.
First. Yeah.
I'm boobless, proud but boobless. So basically, like this one is this is the skull clutch.
This.
Thank you very much. So I had my skull X-rayed, and then we traced it, and then we lasered it. So this is me. We have a couple more collaborations. This is with the artist Wawi Navarrosa. This is with a dear friend of mine, Gabby Lechauco, who's very, very talented. And
so you might venture into furniture also.
Yes,
furniture
we're actually
accessories.
doing home accessories. This is the Galaxy collection. I call it the Galaxy collection.
Galaxy.
This is the ZACARIAS dark helmet, which
obviously
is an abstract representation of Darth Vader.
Okay.
This is the C clutch, which is actually the eyes of C-3PO.
Yeah.
And
clever.
very abstract
Stormtrooper.
So I call it the Stormy, the Hunter.
Boba Fett,
Very,
of course.
and of course R2. This is actually the Bitzer collection, which we showed as part of the Spring Summer 16 in Paris in premiere class. And this is woven on, it's not painted on. We have a clutch, we have the backpack, which is this, and then also we have this chiller that I call the chiller. So you know, it's just this humongous thing.
Yeah,
it's 2 levels, but anyway,
people put
I
their
mean, you know,
wine
you can put wine. It could be for picnics. You could be for, you know, a baguette or for the gym or whatever. Yeah.
And these ones, this one behind you, very interesting.
This is called the Frank. It's an offshoot of a sculpture that I saw in the Pompidou. Yeah. So if you see it, it's really the weave that we did. It's really fantastic, huh? So
again,
if you hold it,
conforms,
it does conform.
last year you had this pop-up show, because most of your stuff is sold abroad, and here's where your mom came in and really saw what an impact you were making.
I think so. It was really a special time. I don't think she's really seen the collection as a whole. And when she had seen it, she said, I'm very proud, and you know, and really that got me. I remember because Mavis, who's with Tala, now I'm crying. No, but that's true. I mean, it was really a special moment. Because, you know, after a while you come home, you have different aesthetics and you have different ideas. And then for her to finally see it, it was really special.
Yeah. It's been kind of a struggle. No? You've been through several things, and I'd like to talk about another struggle you've been through, cancer.
2010, I was diagnosed, late 2010, about a few months after I'd come home. I just had opened the workshop store, and then I had found out.
So at that time you had to have a mastectomy.
Yes.
First. Yeah.
I'm boobless, proud but boobless. Aside from the mastectomy, the cancer as well. It was really tough. Chemo and radiation was tough.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's such a cliche, but really it's a positive attitude. I had to be also very patawa. I had to be very positive, not just for me, but also for the whole family. Because, you know, I mean, it was really tough for my mom to see me suffering and to not know what was going to happen. But you know what? I mean, you trust your doctors, and then you have to. And then, you know, you have friends who are there, you have family who are there, and you just really need to smile. And it's really not making light of a tough situation, or maybe it is, but you know, you have to, because if not, it will really eat you up. The depression and the pain and the toughness will eat you up. So you know, it's important to make sure you're laughing and make sure that you're smiling. And it's also important for the people who are taking care of you, the nurses who are, you know, they were like, "Ay, mom, sana ganyan lahat ng pasyente." Diba? And you know, it's nice to hear that. So you know, and for me also, you know, it's interesting to normalize the scars and celebrate it. Actually,
celebrate, and you don't want to waste any time.
No.
So for you, everything now is about, if you want to do a design, if you want to do travel somewhere, you do it.
I do, and you know, and it's been nice. I've been traveling a lot, and it's also tough to travel because now, you know, because the cancer spread to my lymph nodes, and so I need to have, I can't really lift a lot of things, really heavy things. And when I travel, because of the air pressure, I need to do compression stockings. So it's so hot. And then, but you know, but it's fine. And I am still taking tamoxifen, but you know, but which is premenopausal, so I'm like hot flashing all the time. But you know, but it's fine. It's stuff you have to deal with. But you know, but you gotta smile. You gotta be thankful. You know, I'm still here, and I have friends who sadly are not anymore. But you know, I'm probably here for a reason, and you know, and I need to enjoy my life. I need to make sure that it means something.
It's a good reminder for all of us.
Yeah, not just for me, but I've people who work for the family.
And you still have so many plans, still so many things you want to do. Where are you taking this?
That's true. I mean, with ZACARIAS, I'm going to make bags that are really special. I'm not going to make bags that will be in a landfill 3 months from now. You can't. It's called the Jean Eye Clutch that a friend of mine named. So you can put this one, actually you can put an iPad and it fits inside here as well. But it's also just really a clutch that you can hold on.
But you're a very strong woman, and somehow you got into television. What influenced your choices later in life? I mean, when you got into television and now fashion, is it something that your grandparents instilled in you?
I think most definitely. I think the creativity was definitely a part of it. I've always wanted to be in television. As soon as you know, it was in Daibadida, see-through and eye-to-eye. I was hooked. Television to me was like, oh my God.
You're an Emmy Award-winning producer. So tell me about that time in your life. I mean, really working both in California and Texas.
Yes. Well, I was a senior producer Fox 11 in LA, and it was a great time. And but really, I started out in the lowest job.
Production assistant.
I was a programming assistant.
Okay.
And I remember going into Fox and interviewing, and them saying, "There's no production work for this. It's a part-time job. I don't know if you want to do it." My boss at the time, the guy John Frenzel, who's actually still a really good friend of mine now, and he was the programming director and the publicity director. And he said, "I just need an assistant, three days out of the week." And I said, "I'll take it." He goes, "You know, you're overqualified."
Okay.
I go, "I don't care, I'll take it."
Yeah.
So I took it, and in 3 months I was promoted. And until about a few years later, they had asked me to become a producer there. So I was
just
very
be
happy.
patient. Yeah. Just it comes.
Yeah,
Huh?
and you work hard. You know, you're there before everyone gets there. You stay later than everyone else, and you know, you just work hard.
And very interesting, in 1999 too, you had your television career. You're doing teleseries in the Philippines.
I did. I wasn't doing teleseries. I was a production assistant. It's very different. I was, you know, I was like, does anyone, you know, I was asking the artistas if they wanted balut or ensaymada, and I would like buy, you know. I mean, I really started, I worked from the bottom up. And, you know, I have to thank Tita Kichi Benedicto for giving me that opportunity. So I was a production assistant, and I became an assistant director.
Well, you left at 14 years old, you lived in Hawaii, you lived in London. What do you think you got the best of all these worlds? What did you bring together, you know, growing up a little bit here, abroad, that you bring in now to your craft?
I think for me, definitely, it's not only the aesthetics, but it's also, I think there's a contemporaneity in the work that I really try to put a more contemporary thrust into a very traditional craft, and I think it shows. And I think part of it is from all my travels. I mean, most definitely just going, say, to Whitechapel Gallery in London and seeing an Isa Gensken sculpture, you know, that I can't see anywhere else or can't see here. So that helps. And then just really bringing and choosing and editing out what's in my head.
But one of the places you consider home is Hawaii because you grew up there. You want to do a store there too.
I do. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but you know, but it's one of my dreams, definitely. I would love to have a store or maybe a concept store in Honolulu, and I'd love to teach back in my high school there.
It's been quite a journey, and you have done a lot. Where do you find the most happiness in all of this?
You know, there's quite a few things. I mean, it's definitely seeing with my family. It's seeing my nieces, that they grow up, and I'm sure 1 or 2 or 3 of them will take care of this, and then the legacy of my grandparents and my mother will go on, will continue. I think that's important, and that's probably one of the reasons why I came back. It's really as a thank you. You know, I was able to go to school in the States because of this business, so it's really just as a thank you for everyone who has worked here, and for my grandparents as well, and my mom. So I think that's definitely a part of it. That makes me happy.
That is really very inspiring. Thank you very much, Rita.
Thank you very much.